AAB Training, achieved through excellence. E-learning for security professionals. Emergency procedures for security operatives. The aim of this session is to familiarize learners with emergencies and emergency procedures. By the end of this session, you will be able to explain the importance of the venue's fire and evacuation procedures, identify the 3 elements of fire, list the types of fire extinguishers and their use, state the procedures for dealing with a bomb threat, understand how to remain alert and vigilant of unusual and suspicious activity, explain what action to take in a first response situation requiring first aid, specify who to contact in first aid situations. What is an emergency? An emergency is an unforeseen or sudden event, sufficiently dangerous as to demand immediate action. A door supervisor may be involved in the following different types of emergencies: fire, flood, bomb threats, break-in, accidents involving injury, gas leak, chemical spills, etc. Planning and preparing for all types of emergencies will make a significant amount of difference. Here are a number of points to remember. Assignment instructions contain all emergency procedures. They must be read and understood. The location of emergency telephones and radios. Fire hydrants and related equipment. Contact numbers of key personnel. Evacuation and muster points. Readily available and up-to-date maps and plans of the site. Prior knowledge of emergency and alarm systems, sounders, and lights. Where emergency isolation points are located: gas, electric, water. Contact the police, ambulance, or fire brigade on 999 or 112. The 999 or 112 operator will ask for the following information: the type of service required, what number you are calling from, what is your exact location, what is the number of casualties and what is the extent of their injuries, are there any other dangers or hazards present. The Regulatory Reform Order of 2005, which is applicable to England and Wales only, states all companies with employees must carry out a fire risk assessment. The local fire authority will enforce the order in most premises. The enforcing authority will have the power to inspect your premises to check that you are complying with your duties. The order places a responsibility on a responsible person to carry out a fire risk assessment to ensure the safety of all relevant persons. Fire and rescue authorities are required under the order to inspect business premises within their local area to check compliance. The Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999. Employers must carry out a risk assessment. Employers with 5 or more employees need to record the significant findings of the risk assessment. There are 6 other legal duties an employer has. To safeguard the safety of their employees, they must nominate people to undertake special roles. They must consult with their employees regarding these nominations. They must inform other employees of any significant risks they also have. If they are not an employer but have control of premises, they are also responsible for meeting the requirements of the fire regulations. They must establish a suitable means of contacting the emergency services. The law requires all employees to cooperate with the employer to ensure that the workplace is safe from fire and not to do anything which will place themselves or other people at risk. There are 3 elements of fire: oxygen, fuel, and a source of heat. Without these 3 elements, a fire cannot continue to spread. It is important for the door supervisor to understand that a fire does progress and that it can do so rapidly. No one should stay too long. Once the fire starts to grow, it can quickly get out of control and become life-threatening. Fire falls into 5 classifications: A for textiles, B for liquids, C for gases, D for metals, F for fats. An electrical fire does not fall into any of the above classes, nor does it have a classification of its own. Types of extinguishers. There are different kinds of fire extinguishers, and you must be familiar with all of them. The key points to remember are water-based extinguishers will conduct electricity. They should never be used on live circuits. Foam extinguishers lay a blanket of foam over the burning liquid. Aim the foam at the far side of the fire to encourage it to spread across the fire. Power extinguishers contaminate the atmosphere. In enclosed spaces, this can become a serious problem. Carbon dioxide extinguishers. When activated, they produce freezing cold carbon dioxide. Care should be taken when using a carbon dioxide extinguisher on a fire, as there is the possibility that the force from the gas may cause the fire to spread. Since 1997, all fire extinguishers manufactured are entirely red, but they may have a colored panel on the label to identify the type. A water-filled canister is labeled red, powder-filled blue, foam-filled cream, carbon dioxide-filled black, AFFF-filled is cream, wet chemical yellow. The key points for using fire extinguishers are to always read the label on the extinguisher. Ensure that your exits are clear. Know where the fire extinguishers are located and how they operate. Understand the color coding and never attempt to fight any fire unless it is absolutely safe to do so. There are other firefighting equipments available to you, such as fire blankets, gas-based flooding systems, wet and dry risers, sprinklers, foam flooding, and fire doors. If a door supervisor discovers a fire, the following procedure should be followed. Sound the alarm. Call the fire brigade and other emergency services if needed. Inform the control room and assist in evacuation if needed. In dealing with an emergency, always remember the 4 C's. Confirm that there is an emergency. Send a colleague to report back. Use a radio or telephone to call a responsible person in the area. Use your CCTV. Activate electronic alarms. Clear. If an evacuation is ordered, you should be able to use the technical systems to alert personnel to evacuate. You should guide visitors from the premises via emergency exits. Cordon off the area. A cordon is an access control procedure to ensure that persons do not enter the danger area. And control. There will be a control point established to where emergency services will be directed. Evacuations. It is common for door supervisors to be involved in evacuations. You must understand evacuation sirens and alarms. You will stand out with high visibility clothing. Be prepared to give instructions. Keep calm. Your actions may panic public and/or workers. Be authoritative and professional, but don't bully people. Fully understand the assignment instructions. Know the evacuation routes and muster points. Remember the do's and don'ts of any emergency situation. Do be vigilant. Do use your senses when on duty, looking for signs of anything unusual. Assist the emergency services as requested. Do be attentive to threatening phone calls. And please look after your own safety. Do not try to deal with situations on your own. Don't forget to keep control informed. Do not forget to take notes for reporting purposes. And do not touch anything suspicious. Bomb threats. Be on the lookout for suspicious or out-of-place objects in washrooms, etc. Look for unusual behavior such as loitering, watching the staff, or the closed-circuit televisions. Don't forget to patrol corridors, washrooms, and hallways. In the event that a suspect package is found in the venue, the following procedures must be followed. The area around the package must be isolated. The owner must be identified. The package must not be touched. Radio or mobile phones must not be used in the vicinity. Telephone bomb threats. There are guidelines for dealing with telephone bomb threats. Have a bomb threat checklist. Keep the caller talking and listen. Remain calm at all times. Always treat the call as genuine. First aid contacts. Public entertainment licensed venues must have a qualified and equipped first aid officer. It is the door supervisor's duty to ensure that they know who that person is. All other venues that do not have a public entertainment license may still have a nominated first aider. The door supervisor should ensure that they know who that person is. In all other cases, call an ambulance. Important notice. We do not recommend that you take up employment without a valid UK first aid certificate and insurance. What is first aid? First aid is the immediate assistance to an ill or injured person before the arrival of the ambulance or a doctor. A qualified first aider can preserve life, can stabilize the casualty's condition, can promote recovery, and can call an ambulance. In a first aid situation, always remember to ensure your own safety. Assess the situation. Maintain control. Assess and diagnose the casualty. Save a life and call 999 or 112. And always know the location of the first aid box. To summarize, by now, you can explain the importance of the venue's fire and evacuation procedures. You can identify the 3 elements of fire. You can list the types of fire extinguishers and their use. You can state the procedures for dealing with a bomb threat. You can understand how to remain alert and vigilant of unusual and suspicious activity. You can explain what action to take in a first response situation requiring first aid. You can specify who to contact in first aid situations.